Well, this is it. I am loaded. Let me just get right here. And I went inside this scale. I said, guys, there's nowhere to park. It's such a small scale that it only has 15 spots. And she says, well, she could see me on the camera there. She says, I see you're very long, and on this thing there's a big overhang, and I'll show you in a second, but it's so cold outside. I wanted to use my camera, like the Canon, but I'm not sure how it'll perform at such freezing temperature. And so the lady was nice enough. This is this quick trip, and you see there's a bunch of spots in here, but these fuel guys just parked there. I guess that's their dedicated spots, and there's maybe like 5 spots to my right, and then maybe over there, yeah, there's like 8 or 9 spots. But I see one guy broke down, and they have a skirt, like they have a skirt around the undercarriage on the front, and there's a pickup truck next to it, and there's like a heating, some kind of a big industrial heater in the front, and there's something basically I know exactly what it is, because that happened to me in northern Ontario when the temperature overnight went down to minus 40 Celsius or minus 40 F, and basically your oil freezes, and that's it. Like, doesn't matter what you have inside your fuel, like you have anti-gel, no anti-gel, it doesn't matter, because the oil is frozen like solid, so nothing can turn, you know, when you turn the key. And so when I couldn't start the truck, that I did the same thing. I called some guy, and he came with this special, like a skirt, you know, they put it like under, so that to create a warm area under your truck, and then they just heat up your, you know, the oil pan over there. And I think in my case it took like over 4 hours, and it cost me a bunch of money. I don't remember how much, but and they used 2 heaters, one from the front, one from underneath, but anyway. And so yeah, and that pickup truck that is working like the service truck, it's taking the last remaining spot, you know. And so when I went inside, I scaled, and because I there was a scale where I picked up, it's basically truck repair shop, truck and trailer repair shop, and the guy told me on the phone that there's a scale next door, right? And there's some kind of a big agricultural yard in there, and they have their own scale. I went in there, I told them that I'm just got loaded, you know, at your neighbor here. Is it okay if you guys scale me? And they didn't take any money, because I guess they do it all the time. They said sure, but the weight was a bit kind of like weird, and I wasn't sure like the gross weight, and he gave me a printout and everything, but that scale, it does not give you the axle weights, right? So because of that, so you have to stop when your front axle is on, then when your 2 axles are on, you know. And that scale was not level, like the approach was a bit, you know, hilly. And now I scaled here, and basically I have, with my 5th wheel just above drive axle 1, I have check this out. That's why, oh, when I called the guy this morning to tell him that I'm coming, he says, the guy at the truck repair shop where this machine was sitting on this trailer, he says, what kind of truck you have? And I said, what do you mean? A highway truck, 4 axles. And he says, oh, 4 axles, then you're good. And I said, why is that? And he says, oh, he says, you wouldn't believe there's like 10 or 15 people showed up in the past couple of weeks. They were trying to, you know, hook up to this, and they were all overloaded. And so we finally told the broker and the buyer, the owner of this machine, that you need a 4-axle truck. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm looking at this, and yeah, I do see this, right? But you're not overloaded on the drive axle, so I didn't even put my pusher down, because why would I do that, right? So that's my front axle. You see, almost 17,000 pounds. Then we have 32.8 over here, basically 16,000 on each drive axle, but then the back is pretty hefty. That's just 3 axles, you know, and that's my gross 118.7. so if you deduct 27,000 pounds from this, that's the weight of my truck. 27, right? That's the weight of this machine. I think it's what, oh, like 70,000 pounds. No more, 90 plus 30, yeah. That's what it is, and that's why nobody could pick this up, you know. And I like this, you see, like I mentioned this before. That's why I always look for heavy loads, because very few people can do them, you know. Like if it's a load for a trailer, most people just, they have 35-ton trailers, so once the weight of the load is over 70,000 pounds, it's a total different ball game, you know. You need 7 axles, and then if it's over 90, you need, you know, 95, you need 8. And so this just kills the competition. And you see, in this case, why I can do this load, because my front axle is 20,000 pounds, right? And if it had been overloaded, I can drop my pusher, you know. But I don't want to do it now, because then the weight might go too low on the front, you know. You don't want to have your steer axle too light, you know. But let me show you briefly what I got, because it's a very weird, but it's so cold outside. Okay, hold on. What's the temperature? Minus 13 Celsius. That's not too bad. Minus 13. So minus 10. That's like 18. So 10 degrees Celsius equals 18 Fahrenheit. So minus 10 means 32 minus 18. What is that? 32 minus 20 is 13. So 15. So minus 10 is 15F. But now it's lower. So basically we go, so it's probably like 12 or 10 or 12F. So still pretty cold. But in the morning it was minus 22, which I think is like minus 4F, you know. And so yeah, so the kind lady inside, she you know, she kind of felt bad for me. I said, you know, I have this, you know, super heavy load, I gotta stay here till morning. And she says, okay, park next to the scale. She says there's a very big area over there. And I said, I think there was somebody there, because when I was trying to get on the scale, there was a guy here parked, and he was trying to back in here, and turns out he was just looking for like 10 minutes to park, because actually it's not a bad truck stop. This, when I went inside to pay for the scale, and the ticket was $11.50 US. When I went inside, I saw a bunch of, you know, food. Like it's not like a Pilot. They have nice food in there. I don't think they have a restaurant, but they have like, you know, kinds of sandwiches, you know, kind of like deli corner, you know. Anyway, okay, so I hope I'm not gonna freeze to death. All right, let's go. You ready? Just make sure put some extra clothes on yourself, because you will feel chilly even looking at this. Check this out. So I hooked up my air lines, my electric lines, everything. The legs, everything is broken, but it was sitting on a couple of timbers, right? So it's called drum mixer or concrete mixer, I don't know. And just has 3 axles. And you see, this whole thing rotates. This whole thing is like a big mixer, right? Where they put stuff inside and it spins. You see over here, it has probably like a PTO or something, or like yeah, it's hooked up to the engine. I don't know, maybe electric, I have no idea. And the problem is, over here from the last axle to here, it's 25 feet. Very big overhang. And so what I had to do is I check, I did, of course, I did the pre-trip inspection, check the lights, everything works, brakes work. Like this thing was flapping, see, like this little mud flap or something, so I put bungee cord in here, made sure that this is secure. See, there's a wire in there, and then that piece over there, that belt was on the ground, so I put my strap in here, and then this piece looks like it goes down, so I double checked all the chains, made sure they're tight, and I had to take the other one on the other side and retighten it. Put the sign in here. Yeah, you see that one? I retightened that one, and so the lights were working. And these are just solid axles, but you see this looks new, so they changed all the hoses. That's what they were doing over there. They changed the hoses and they put on new tires, and these tires are just solid axles. Only this axle has airbags. See? Very weird load, you know? But not too heavy, and it's legal height. So I just have to watch that overhang when I turn, so I don't hit the car or truck next to me. And it's 10 feet 6 inches. 10 feet 4 or 5 inches wide, but when I did my request, I said 10.6. 10.6 wide, so legal height, and weigh 118.7. So let me just double check how much. What's the weight in there? So 118.7 minus 27. Yeah, so 91.7. So basically, this whole thing weighs 92,000 pounds. So let's say the trailer, the chassis, but there's no, well, I don't know, maybe 20,000 pounds. So yeah, this whole thing I think is like 72,000. The mixer itself. I don't know why they build it like that, because it's kind of like asking for another axle. Because 69,000, and there's nothing I can do. So it's 69,000 on 3 axles. If I move my fifth wheel, it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna change the weight on the trailer. It only will change the weight, change the way the weight is distributed between the steer axle and the drives, right? I can move it further forward, but then it'll just add more weight to the steer axle, which is already pretty heavy, and it'll take weight from the drive axle. So the only way to take the weight off the trailer is if I could move closer, but I cannot do that, right? Like basically maybe have like a shorter neck. No, but that would even increase. Yeah, if we had a shorter neck, because actually, yeah, the neck is pretty long. So if we had a shorter neck, then more weight will go on the truck, right? Because now the truck is closer to the load, to the trailer. But I think there's about like this, maybe like 3 feet. But that would not bring it down to 60. So I don't know. I'll see what Wisconsin say. Wisconsin, I think Illinois should be okay. Michigan should be okay. I'm okay in Minnesota so far. So anyway, we'll know tomorrow. Oh, we're right next to some kind of a railroad over here. And you see they have containers and they all double stacked. double stacked, so this thing probably has like 2 or 3 engines, maybe like 2 engines in the front, 1 in the back, or 4 in the front, 1 in the back. So anyway, so that's it for today. I'm just wondering what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day, because I don't want to run my heater, you know, 20 hours till sunrise. So I did not notice if they have any sitting area inside the truck stop, so I'm gonna go now and find out, because I gotta kill some time till tomorrow morning.